Okay, let's talk. Let's summarize everything that we've experienced so far. So we know that Kurt Schilling helped fund this game. Initially, he borrowed from the state of Rhode Island. The game flopped horribly when they didn't market the game well. We know that the team from Elder Scrolls 4 helped work on this. We know that the writers worked on the lore from this. The writer that worked on the lore from this is one of the writers for like the Forgotten Realms series, as well as the Drizzt Do'Urden series. And it has this interesting history. Nearly bankrupted the state of Rhode Island. Kurt Schilling had to sell his bloody sock to make up the losses from this game. It was going to be an MMO. They decided to make it a single-player game, and it is fabulous. It came out, besides the marketing issue, it also came out around the same time as Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. And that was its big issue. If you would ask me now, I would say that yes, beyond a shadow of a doubt, mods excluded, but including DLCs, this game, Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, is a far superior game to Elder Scrolls V. This is better than Skyrim. Oh, I shouldn't played this to the end, and I missed it. Welcome. Glad to have you. Talon, what do we say with Talon? So we have now put 160 hours into this. We've almost perfected the game. I didn't want to do 26 parts of this, so we only did 25. So here's our summation of this game. And I played this a lot growing up, or at least 10 years ago. And this is the first time I've ever actually finished it. And we just did, all right, base game, incredible. Combat, fantastic. Artwork, I love it because it reminds me of old WoW. And it ages really, really nicely because it's not overly realistic. Skyrim doesn't age very well because I think Skyrim is a more realistic. So I did do all the builds. Actually, Talon, throughout, I tried a few, I did a full mage build. I went Universalist in the beginning to get the extra talent points for a little, skills for a little while. Then I did a little bit of mage, a little bit, just kind of showcase what each one was for a couple sessions each. But my ultimate build was primarily finesse with it's I would say 60-40 finesse magic, right? So I was officially the spell cloak. Fey blades, chakrams, those two weapons. Those are my core weapons, and I loved them. I love this game. The Pirate DLC, the Legend of Deadcal, is fantastic. It is great. Yeah. I love the Pirate DLC. The Teeth of Naros was fine. Pirate DLC was amazing. The issue I have with this game now, and this is a 10 out of 10 game for me. This is absolutely a 10 out of 10 game for me, with one exception. And that is, very recently, THQ Nordic acquired this game when it was sold to them, and they seem to have an interest in making a sequel. That seems to be what's implied here. Because they made the Fatesworn DLC, which happens after the story. At the end of the main, spoiler alert, after the end of the main storyline, you free the world from fate. As the Fateless One, you find a way to break the binds of fate. Everyone is free to make their own decisions, and the Fae are fading into obscurity. This DLC kind of poops all over that. I love what they did with some of the set pieces, by which I mean the actual set dressing of the world itself, as well as the actual armor set pieces you get. Really clever. They found a way to, take chaos and kind of rope it in kind of interesting. I love it. But this DLC, and I really wanted to love it, but I heard it wasn't great. Kind of story-wise, the voice acting's still decent, although the actors have aged. So, Agart sounds the same, sounds different. Aelin sounds a little bit different. Here's the thing. If you have characters whose voice is... Point one. A character as iconic as Aelin Shear cannot voice NPCs. Her voice is too noticeable. It's too important for her to be voicing small characters. She's only Aelin Shear. Same thing with Agarth. But I don't think Agarth did anyone else. And if he did, his voice is hidden enough that you don't notice. It does fall flat. It does really fall flat. I agree. One of the things that stands out to me that drives me nuts. Well, two mechanics. One is, hey, you have to break apart they copied basically Dragon Age Inquisition, close these rifts. That's fine. I don't even mind. That's fine. But I have to go through a maze, and I have to close 4 smaller rifts to get into the big rift. I then go in the big rift and have to go through the maze in the big rift, fighting enemies endlessly. Okay, do that 5 times. Okay, fine. I did that. Hey, you want to get all the bonus materials and really upgrade your weapons? Do that 25 times. Absolutely. I mean, I'm going to do it off stream. Not today, but I will do it off stream at some point because I'm going to achievement hunt this game because I love this game and I love what it is. The story though, and it gets weird because it's really, really poorly written. I have on one of my TikToks, I mentioned already that there's a line where like a druid for some reason asks you to burn down part of the forest for some reason because the Fae are attacking humans, and that's bad, and that makes no sense. Burn the forest to save humans? That's crazy druid talk. And your response to that is either, no, I don't want to do that, which is a quest, and you probably want to accept, or fire makes me feel warm inside or something. That's a crazy answer. That's completely off the rock from what your character would normally say. It got voiced by a different VA. And I believe it. I do believe that. It's similar, but not... It's quieter, and I believe that. Ailyn Shear sounds the same, although her voice is really distinct. So, yeah. And then the other thing that really, really bothers me is at the very end of the game, they're like, oh, we have to save Wolf. I don't care about Wolf. I don't. We only established him as a character kind of once or twice, and we couldn't even save him, so it's not like there was this big build-up, right? Like, oh, we're going to storm the castle. There was no storming of the castle. We just kind of walked through. We went through 5 chaos portals to unlock this special armor that I had to put on just to get through this really... And actually, it caused me 1 accidental death. 103. It was the 103rd death. We went like 10 sessions with no deaths. And we're doing this on hard mode. 10 sessions, no deaths. And we died in that one part because I didn't know you had to put on armor for that. But then we get to that part. I put on the armor. I run through it. I get through the barrier, out the other side, and I bump into a lady who I thought died earlier, who somehow beat me here while fighting enemies. And she's like, oh, I had to brave the corruption of that barrier just to meet you here and try to save my apprentice. You very specifically said if I went through the barrier, I would die. So I was hoping actually there was going to be a deception. It wasn't. She just walked through the barrier that I needed special armor for. That is nuts to me, right? Never mind being terrible the entire... And then she's like, oh, we have to save my apprentice. And my only option was to say, like, I'm going to fight with you. No, I want to take on the final boss by myself. Because NPCs in this, she's useless. She's a distraction. She's completely useless. Completely useless. So there it is. The Kingdoms of Amalur, Reckoning, 10 out of 10. Purchase this game. It is delightful. I love it. Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning. The Fatesworn version with the Fatesworn DLC, you can completely miss the Fatesworn DLC. Because at the end of the game, as the Fatesworn, having broken fate, and I guess everyone has fate again? That's stupid. I don't want to have to go from point A to point B to point C to point D just to get like end of like, oh, I've got something to show you. And it's like a guy from the beginning. Oh, hey, sorry about what happened, but we appreciate your efforts. Like, thanks. But also you're going to be exiled now. No, this is how I become evil, right? If you tell me you're going to exile me because, oh, that's what the guild wants because you're unraveling fate. Okay, well, I guess I'm unraveling fate now. Like after everything I've done, absolutely not. You know, if there's a way to fix it, sure, fine. But I don't get a say in any of this and I get to say, no. Co-op and endgame loop would kill in this game or sequel. Yeah, this game has so much potential, and what worries me is like I would love a sequel. I would love a sequel and a co-op. Because the ability to if you give me more spells, more combos, the weapons are great. Like I never got bored of playing the. I love how I can just swap between weapons really fast. I never got bored of playing with the chakrams, with the Fey Blades. I love the stealth mechanics or whatever. I loved it. It was great. You throw in some co-op with that, yeah. You know, the enemies in the end were all the most annoying enemies you could possibly face. The ones that are going to stun you, that are going to interrupt your attacks, that you for some reason can't interrupt their attacks. There's no ability to prevent your attacks from getting interrupted. That's nice. This gives Fable one choice at the end. Yeah, exactly. You know, and I've even forgiven like I enjoyed, for example, Mass Effect 3, where at the end everyone's like, oh, the ending of Mass Effect 3 kind of sucked. I mean, it was fine, but it was never about the ending. It was about how you got to the ending. And so like having a simple choice of, you know, save, destroy, assimilate, whatever. I was okay with that, actually, because it was about how we got here. But the ending here completely undercuts everything we've done. I haven't actually finished Fable, to be fair, but we will get to that at some point. Completely undercuts the whole story. And I basically want to say it's non-canon. Now, if I didn't like the writing, but there's potential here. to continue in this world. We know that there's other lands outside of Amalur in general. We know about like the island with the dwarves, and like the islands that the elves came from. Like we could explore other places, and that'd be fine with me. I'm curious. I'm hesitantly, I would be like cautiously optimistic about what they could do with this game if they could do something with it again. Because I love it. This is so good. But Fates One allowed me to complete my build. I used Dagger, Greatsword, Shadowcaster. Oh, good stuff. Yep, good stuff. Yeah, it's all these weapons are so viable. It's really hard. You can't really screw up. Even if you split your points evenly between all three of them, you become a universalist, and that's amazing, right? The other smaller details, things like, the dodging system needs a tweak. The fact that, like, if I go to dodge, there's like especially with the magical teleport dodge, one, I teleport into traps. Like if there's a spinning blade trap, I stop in front of it, which is crazy. If you teleport through an enemy, which you can do, and then the enemy just like automatically like shifts, like mid swing, shifts to smack you at the bottom, like that kind of feels unfulfilling. And also the delay at the beginning of the dodge. I'm okay with a recovery after the dodge, but if I need to dodge, don't make me go like, okay, hang on, and now I dodge. That's, you want your combat to feel a little more snappy, a little more responsive than that. But man, like what a trip. What an absolute trip. So this has been 25 parts. Each DLC took me 2 parts. But this one took me 3 parts. This DLC took me 3. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 parts of DLC, plus the whatever the number is for the core game itself. And it's been fantastic. It's long, deep lore. We've done basically every single side quest except for 1 or 2 for Gravehall Keep and for this DLC because I just wanted to get through it. I am exquisitely happy to have finished it. It's good. Like the crafting system in this game is brilliant. I love how customizable the gear is. I think they could have gone even a step further with the DLC, the Fatesworn DLC, where they had like these really interesting armor sets where it's like, oh, if you do this, it summons this, then it creates a shield and does these things. That's awesome. Because if the legendary sets, the artifact, whatever they're called, have those kinds of abilities but slightly worse stats, or like slightly less customized stats. Now as a player, I'm torn between like, do I want to craft my own gear with the perfect stats for me, or do I want this other gear that has really cool, like really cool effects and really cool set bonuses? And that for me, and a hard decision is a good gameplay mechanic. You want us to think, you want us to consider, and you want them both to be equal but different, right? Like there's not really a bad build in this game. You can make any of it work. This is the build that I like. But for example, Piano Fairy, one of our supporters of the stream, who also is a streamer himself, he went mostly magic. He was like staff and I don't remember what else, but he did a lot of staff. And that's fine. I really never used the staffs. I mean, kind of, but yeah, he liked the staff. There were a couple of sound bugs, especially with like the cutscenes. For some reason, the cutscenes were just cut out. I don't know why. So there were a couple of weird bugs. Even the Fatesworn DLC, supposedly there's a bug in which if you do like more than 5 of the Chaos Gates at once, it bugs out. And the quest, that stuff kind of freezes or something. Yeah, so there is for those who, so I've done a bit of audio design, not in games but in film, and there is such a thing as like audio fatigue. So I mean, bad phrase. I got you. There is such a thing as audio fatigue, and a good way to avoid that is to decrease the frequency of those sounds, or those oral cues. And the other way is to change them in pitch. If you change them in pitch 5% either down or 5% up, and have that 10% range, people don't notice as much. And that's like same thing with footsteps. If you just had one sound for like every time you ran, that would be awful. But you can change the pitch, and that sounds a lot different, right? I mean, I'm making different sounds, but like if the sound is similar enough and you can alter the pitch, your brain's not like it's the same repeating boop 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 boop. It's boop 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 boop. If it feels different, right? I still love this game. The combat's so smooth. Like, I think I played this game before I played Skyrim, truthfully, years ago. And I remember jumping into Skyrim thinking the combat was going to be like this, and it wasn't. I was actually really disappointed. I still love, and don't get me wrong, I love Skyrim. I love Skyrim. But I don't know, like the action of this is just, it's so engaging. It's so good for me. You know, the lore behind this world is so good. The lore is amazing. And yeah, the story in the as like the core part of the game is, it's fine. It's good. I would even say it's good, but okay. All right. So here's where we're at. Man, 6 o'clock. This is good timing, I guess. Okay. 8 hours today. Just about to hit 8 hours. So I enjoyed this, and I hope you all did as well. Thank you, Talon, for popping and saying hi, even at the very tail end. This has been awesome. But for those of you joining us, and even actually on, we had a friend over on YouTube mentioning that the game doesn't really function as well on Switch either. So it's unfortunate they haven't fixed some bugs. But that being said, what's this random crap on the ground? As if I need like any more money. I'm ending the game with 13,852,000 gold. Get some better fashion. All right, I'll mess around with this off stream for sure. But so for those of you joining for the first time on YouTube or over here at Twitch, so our Friday main series 2 game, Kingdoms of Amalur: Re-Reckoning, is now complete. We are done. We've done it. We're adding it to our completed pile.